organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up tonight on Daily Iowan TV, gender-neutral bathrooms. We'll show you how one religious group on campus is becoming more inclusive.
And the miracle of birth, how couples are able to have kids later in life here in Iowa.
And in sports,
Daily Iowan TV Sports Cruise was all over Iowa City this weekend.
Find out in sports how Iowa football and wrestling both shattered records across the boards, and both did so inside the walls of Kinnick Stadium.
All of that and more coming up.
Daily Iowan TV starts now.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Alana Neal.
And I'm Kelsey Sanger. It was a historic and undefeated Saturday inside Kinnick Stadium as Iowa wrestling competed against the #1 ranked team in the country.
We start this edition of Daily Iowan TV with a look at the historic day. Wrestling reporter Zach Mackey was Matt's side and has more.
It was the #1 and the #4 wrestling teams in the country that clashed inside Kinnick Stadium this Saturday in front of what was a record-breaking 42,000 people, a meet that broke multiple records. It was a meet that came down to bonus points as the Hawks walked away winning 5 matches. The Cowboys also walked out winning 5 matches. But it was Iowa that scored bonus points at 125 and 184 pounds. It was 125-pounder Thomas Gilman who started to get things rolling in the Hawkeyes' way with a major decision over the #7 wrestler in the country, and he set the pace for the rest of the Hawkeyes. Corey Clark answered at 133 pounds with an 8-2 victory, and the Hawks were ahead early, 7-0. Starting at 157 pounds, Oklahoma State's Chance Marstello defeated Edwin Cooper 14-11, which started a 3-match run for Oklahoma State. Alex DeJinger got the major decision at 165 pounds, and Kyle Kirchmer for Oklahoma State got the decision at 174 pounds as well. All eyes turned to the senior Sammy Brooks at 184 pounds.
It's cool when I'm watching my teammates wrestle and I'm soaking it in and it's unbelievable, and then I step on the mat and it's business.
Sammy Brooks won the match in tech fall over Jordan Rogers 17-2 in 4 minutes and 9 seconds.
Bonus points, that's not just a bonus point, that's 2 bonus points. That's a 5-point win team-wise.
After Brooks gave the team 5 team points, they never looked back, rolling to their first dual meet win of the year, 18-16.
That W is important, and we didn't wrestle well. I mean, you look at 8 back points given up in Cooper's match, and then Meyer giving up 4, and then and coming just close and just not really realizing how your opponent's feeling.
Reporting inside Kinnick Stadium, Zach Mackey, Daily Iowan TV Sports.
It was a big moment for college wrestling, and fans are asking when it will happen again. Later in the show, we'll come back to sports and give you a breakdown of the Hawkeyes' 10-0 victory. During the wrestling meet, Kinnick Stadium started off with a moment of silence for the victims in Paris after the city was devastated by multiple terrorist attacks. On Friday, 3 groups of terrorists allegedly belonging to the group ISIS strategically organized 6 attacks on the city that resulted in the deaths of 132 people. The attacks took place on the streets of Paris, in restaurants, and outside a sports stadium where France's team was playing Germany in a soccer match. 7 of the terrorists were killed either by authorities or at their own hands. Authorities are working to identify and capture any and all remaining participants in the attacks. Multiple countries around the world have been holding vigils for the city and condemning the attacks. Thousands of people gathered to light candles and sing France's national anthem. People also are taking to social media to show their support by changing their profile pictures to the colors of France's flag.
Things got heated at the Des Moines Democratic debate this past Saturday. Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, and Martin O'Malley opened with a moment of silence in honor of the victims of the attacks in Paris before launching into a discussion of their policies on domestic affairs and foreign policy, global terrorism, gun control, and the debate on minimum wages in the United States were among the other topics in the 2-hour debate. Iowans will voice their opinions with the Democratic candidates in the 2016 Iowa caucus polls in February.
The University of Iowa has agreed to pay $166,000 to settle a discrimination case with a UI professor. Andrew Lidrell, a professor of orthodontics, recently filed a complaint to the Iowa Civil Rights Commission in July saying that the university had discriminated against him. The suit closed after both parties agreed to the settlement. The agreement said that Lidrell's position will go from full-time to part-time starting January 1st, and he will have to resign before July 31st, 2016. The full details of the charge have not been released. By settling, the university is not admitting to any fault.
A large American institution voted last week on a pretty big statement. The Union for Reform Judaism announced a resolution last week that will affect people that identify as transgender or non-gender conforming. Daily Iowan TV's Megan Sanchez went out to see what this means for the Jewish community here in Iowa City.
The University of Iowa Hillel House is a place for the small population of Jewish Hawkeyes to gather and experience community. Executive Director Jerry says inclusivity has always been a core belief for the Iowa Hillel.
Inclusiveness has been a non-negotiable fact of life for us. We want to create a community in which all Jews are able to express their preferences and yet to feel like they have a supportive environment and a safe environment that they can have those conversations.
And now, this value of inclusivity is being expressed on a larger scale. The resolution announced by the Union for Reform Judaism last week will provide a more open environment for people who identify as transgender. Jerry says this won't be an issue for the Iowa Hillel.
Just this week, one of my colleagues was talking about signing the restrooms in the Hillel that he leads, in the facility that he leads. Our restrooms here, we have a women's room, but we also have a gender-neutral restroom, and we've had it like that for at least 10 years.
Jerry says he sees this as a step in the right direction.
The fact that the National Convention passed this resolution will help open up the eyes of people who might not have otherwise paid any attention to it. And that can only be helpful.
Reporting in Iowa City,
every human being has value.
This is Megan Sanchez.
And every human being ought to be respected for who they are.
Daily Iowan TV.
Well, Kelsey, it was actually pretty nice out this weekend.
It actually was. Hopefully we'll be able to keep it up. Let's toss it over to Casey Linekrantz in the weather studio to see if we can.
Thanks, guys. I hate to disappoint you, but that weather isn't here to stay. It's going to get colder, and we may even see some snow by the next game day. Monday morning will be around 48 degrees with a 50% chance for rain. Moving to the afternoon, temps will rise to the low 50s, while rain will likely persist. Continuing to the evening, it'll cool to around 48 degrees again, and rain should be sticking with us through the night. Looking to the rest of the week, you'll still want your umbrella Tuesday because there will be a high chance for thunderstorms all day long, and highs will be in the low 60s, while lows should reach the upper 40s. Moving to Wednesday and Thursday, they look to be somewhat nice with highs in the upper 40s and lows around 30 degrees. It should be partly cloudy. Be careful if you're leaving for home Friday afternoon or Saturday because Iowa City should see its first snowfall of the season to begin Thanksgiving break. Highs will be around 40 and lows should be in the mid-20s. Well, guys, that's what you can look forward to for the week, and I hope you have a heavy coat because it'll be cold. Back to you guys at the desk.
One of the two convicted murderers who escaped from an upstate New York prison last June has pled guilty to 3 counts related to his escape. David Sweat was the only one of the pair to survive and is currently serving a life sentence. But after pleading guilty, he has added on another 14 years to his time. Sweat was shot and taken into custody almost 3 weeks after his partner Richard Matt was killed by police. Sweat's guilty plea negates the need for a trial for the escape.
As people around the world put education and career first, some are now waiting until later in life to have kids. But waiting longer could impact their ability to have a family. Daily Iowan TV's Haley Corkery has the story.
Infertility is on the rise, with more women getting married later in life. At the University of Iowa, they offer help to those couples having difficulty in conceiving with the option of in vitro fertilization.
In vitro fertilization is a technique where we help people get pregnant using their sperm and their eggs outside the dish. Literally outside the body is in vitro. In vivo would be when it happens naturally occurring in the body. So since about the mid-'80s, we've had the technology to be able to help people infertile couples conceive by in vitro fertilization.
A Gallup poll recently showed Americans' views on having children have remained the same for the past 23 years. 9 out of 10 adults said they do plan on having children. However, many women are unaware of their own fertility and the issues that can occur with age.
Fertility of any person on any given month is only going to be in the 20 to 30% range. And so, you know, we all can't just go get pregnant every time we want to either. And so when we talk about a pregnancy success rate here of 55%, some people think, well, my gosh, they pay a lot of money, why isn't that higher? We'd like it to be higher, and we're working toward that, but 55 is a big advancement over 20 to 25%. So.
As for Patty's job, she says she would not change it for the world.
It's a reminder that you really are, you know, making a difference in people's lives. So it's been rewarding. It's not a job that I'm looking to leave anytime soon.
Haley Corkery, Daily Iowan TV.
Fans packed Carver Hawkeye Arena Friday night for both men's and women's basketball, but a few fans were wearing a lot of green. The University of Iowa Dance Marathon surprised hundreds of students in the arena with a $10,000 donation from Northwestern Mutual at halftime. This money will help the group reach their ultimate goal of $2.4 million raised by this February. But this is just one of the goals the organization is aiming for. Over the course of 3 years, $2.2 million will go towards the establishment of the Dance Marathon Patriotic Oncology Target Therapy Program. This gift allows the UI Children's Hospital to treat children whose cancer has not yet responded to standard therapies. Because of this new funding, the UI's Children's Hospital will be becoming part of the elite group of hospitals who have the ability to perform these pediatric trials. Now moving on to some other Hawkeye athletics.
When grapple on the gridiron ended, crews had to work quickly to get the field and stadium ready for some Iowa football. Let's toss it over to Taylor Brooks and Katie Reber, who were inside Kinnick Stadium, Iowa's second night game of the year. Ladies?
As 42,000 people were leaving Kinnick Stadium on Saturday afternoon with wrestling on their mind, 70,000 people walked back into Kinnick Stadium Saturday night with football on their mind. And what better way to continue this record-breaking weekend by going 10-0 for the first time in school history. First quarter Iowa with an early 91-yard drive where running back LaShawn Daniels Jr. pushes the ball through the gaps until he runs in for the 3-yard touchdown. Iowa up 7-0. Minnesota wastes no time as veteran quarterback Mitch Ledner shows up with an arm. A complete pass to KJ May for the 37 yards sets up the quarterback keep to keep Minnesota on the board tied at 7. Early second quarter, Iowa keeps the back and forth theme going. Daniels clearly proving he's a contender for that top of the depth chart spot by running 14 yards for the Iowa first down. Beathard for the QB keep and 1-yard touchdown. Iowa up 14-7. Next drive, Minnesota not being fazed by the blackout inside Kinnick Stadium as Ledner throws the 40-yard pass to Brandon Lincoln, tied 14-14. Iowa goes on to score 2 more times for the half. Marshall Kane with a 47-yard field goal. Iowa puts together another long 97-yard drive where it's all about the pass game. Daniels gets the touchdown, putting Iowa up 24-14 at half. Minnesota not going anywhere. The Gophers' pass game looking incredible Saturday night, and Iowa's passing rush is nowhere to be found. Minnesota's Roderick Williams Jr. in for the touchdown, 27-21 Hawks. It's Iowa's Desmond King who gets Iowa going again with a 58-yard return, setting up the 1-yard touchdown by Beathard. Goes for the 2-point conversion, but falls short. Iowa up 33-21. Minnesota fighting back, scoring to put them within 5. Iowa trying to pull away. Daniel scrambles for the 51-yard touchdown, but Minnesota is not done yet, trying anything they can with a 45-second touchdown drive to put them within 5. But it is not enough, and Floyd comes back to Iowa City 40-35. The offense from both Iowa and Minnesota were obviously driving this game. But for more on Iowa's offense, I'll toss it over to Katie Reber. Katie?
In another tight victory, the Hawks switched up their offense and looked to their tight ends to dominate the field. With over 100 receiving yards combined, Henry Krieger-Kobel and George Kittle were the go-to players that made the difference in this dynamic offense on Saturday night.
And it's fun when me and Henry can both be out there together, especially when it's working. It's just good football.
This good football was not something Minnesota's defense could keep up with as they were in double trouble with Iowa's tight ends.
It's a hard look to defend when there's 2 tight ends in there because of the versatility.
We thought 2 tight end personnel would work really well. It's hard for any defense to cover. It's hard for our defense to go against. and it really worked tonight.
Things were working well for this duo as they had 59 receiving yards in just the first half of the game.
Obviously, executing the catch and throw, and we did a good job of that today.
As far as being a tight end, trying to go out there, we know that if we can produce running the ball, blocking, and catching balls and routes, that it's going to be good. It's going to be good for the offense.
Both Kreger, Coble, and Kittle opened up for a pair of clutch third down conversions just before the second half to put the Hawks ahead 24-14.
Yeah, I got open. It's kind of dependent on the looks that we saw, and fortunately for me and our guys, I caught a few first downs. Just trying to keep plays alive and run as good a route as I can, really, and just try to make a play. There's not really anything different than first, second down. I mean, just making plays on third down is just kind of a product of working every down.
This dynamic duo continued to work the downs in the second half as they drove the Hawks to the end zone with another combined 50 receiving yards.
To go out there and play for a trophy, we got to bring it, and we've been doing that, so it's been really good.
From Zach Taylor and myself, catch us on Monday's show where we continue the recap of Iowa City's crazy weekend.
If you're one to rely on horoscopes, you might want to do some readjusting. The astronomers from the Minnesota Planetarium Society found that because of the moon's gravitational pull on Earth, the alignment of the stars was pushed by about a month. So if you follow your horoscope pretty closely, things might be changing. That's all we have for you tonight on Daily Iowan TV.
Be sure to check us out on our website, dailyiowan.com, for all the latest news between now and Sunday. For Daily Iowan TV, I'm Alana Neal.
And I'm Kelsey Sanger.